Permanent death, intensity levels, dream fountains and favors, reworked bosses, redesigned loot. Update 3.3 is bringing a new lease on life to the Well of Infinite Dreams with greater strategy, variety, and replay value. Read this dev blog to find out what's new and what's changed. So I know a lot of people were worried about the replay value. If you have only 30 floors, why would you, like, it's going to be pretty easy and there's not going to be a big challenge. People were worried about that, especially like the big dream enjoyers like Volca, like Eslix. They were worried that without having the infinitely scaling dreams, there's not going to be a lot of replay value or a lot of challenge. Let's see. As promised, it's time to present the new version of the Well of Infinite Dreams in the second dev blog. Many of you reacted to the first dev blog published on April 15. Once again, we want to thank you for your feedback and involvement. In this dev blog, which will be more comprehensive than the first one, we want to go into detail about the new way the Well of Infinite Dreams works and the changes made based on your feedback. Let's go. Reminder about our intentions. That's good. Like, what's the purpose? Why are they making these decisions and not just presenting the decisions? In the revamp dev blogs, we want to start by reiterating our intentions for the revamp, as well as the difference between intention and implementation. Intention is the vision we have for a feature or for the game in general. Its duration, recurrence, gameplay loop, rewards, player profiles, etc. These intentions respond to overall long-term concerns. They are defined before a revamp, and they are often unlikely to change, or will change very little. So they do like more of an overall, like the vision, the global direction. We want dreams to be an endgame feature tailored for players that have completed the game or most of the game, and they want to have like high replayability. So once you're done with everything in the game has to offer, you do dreams, and it keeps a fresh gameplay loop that you can do forever. So that's like my vision, but let's read what their vision is. Yeah. However, there are many possible ways of implementing these intentions. How do you create gameplay mechanics to make that vision come to life? This implementation is what we present, discuss, debate, and change based on your feedback. So the vision stays the same, but the way it's implemented can be modified based on the feedback. If you create a gameplay loop that's supposed to feel fresh every time you do it, and the players are like, I did it twice and now I'm bored, then there's a problem. You change the implementation, but you won't change the intention. When it comes to Infinite Dreams, we think that in the old system, there was a problem with the initial concept, the principle of restarting rooms. It encouraged players to restart the same room repeatedly until they managed to complete it. Although this approach is common in dofus, our intention for this revamp of the Infinite Dreams is to add fun to the game that is more focused on a fully controlled dream with high replay value. It's a bit vague, but they will probably get into more detail. So the new system promotes real-time adaptation and encourages players to treat each room as a unique challenge. Shorter dreams will also be beneficial for team play, because it will be easier to play with the same characters from start to finish. That was one of the biggest shortcomings of current dreams, in my opinion. With this intention in mind, we presented an initial implementation in the first dev blog. Now we'll present a second iteration on how it works and what's changed. Building a dream. To introduce this revamp, let's look at the general structure of the new Infinite Dreams. The structure is divided into 3 levels, from largest to smallest, which are the dream. A dream is your expedition, the whole thing. Your run. You start a dream that will end when you die or reach the end of it. A bracket. The bracket is a group of rooms. And then the room in itself, which represents your progress in the dream. There are several types of rooms, not all of it which are for fights. Okay. For the time being, we're aiming to create dreams with 30 rooms each. Once you've beaten room 30, the dream is finally completed. So they stuck to the 30 rooms dream, even with people saying we don't want that or we want to have infinite again. They are sticking to their guns and they're like 30 rooms is the correct amount. A dream is your current expedition. In this regard, it works in much the same way as it does now. Each player can only own one dream at a time. When a dream is started, the player decides to either continue it or start a new one. If they start a new one, the current dream is lost. So that's every character has their run of dreams. Alongside this dream, each player can join another player's dream to help them progress. They can join as many dreams as they like without influencing their own dream. So that's exactly like it is right now. They can join a dream only to play certain rooms, even if they didn't complete the first room with the dream's owner. Once again, this is unchanged. So this is the UI, a mock UI. Okay, brackets. The way brackets work won't change from what was presented in the first dev blog. However, we've received feedback indicating a lack of understanding about how they work. Our explanation lacked detail and examples, so we'll go over this point again. A bracket is a group of rooms. Each dreams consists of 5 brackets. So when you're doing dreams right now, I think the brackets are like the colors. So you start, I don't even remember the colors, but you start with a color, after like 30 floors you go to the next color, and it's gonna be the same thing. Bracket 1 is rooms 1 to 3. Bracket 2 is room 4 to 8. Bracket 3 is room 9 to 16. Bracket 4, 17 to 24. And then bracket 5, 25 to 30. Why do those brackets exist? Because they will have an impact on 4 aspects. You'll only be able to see the map and the junction of the current bracket. So you only see part of the whole thing. This map can be viewed at any time. Each bracket, except for the first one, will always start with a dream fountain. This means there would be a dream fountains in room 4, 9, 17, and 25. So that's like a common thing with roguelites. Every time you enter a new area, you have kind of a place to heal and to shop, and like there's no enemies. You're chilling there. Each bracket will determine how challenging the fights in the rooms are. So you have 5 levels of difficulty basically. The bracket will also influence which items are dropped. So this is currently the case. Let's see this example. This is the bracket 5. So you have a bit like Slay the Spire, a path. You can choose the path. You get rewards that are indicated, and you have different rooms that are not necessarily enemies. Like this one is a random, and these are the levels. So this is room 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, and then the boss at the end of the 30th room. I really like this UI, by the way. It looks really clean. I'm not sure exactly what everything means, but it looks good. Rooms. During a dream, the players will move from one room to another. At the end of each room, one or more portals will appear. The player can choose which one to take. Each portal will correspond to a junction. As explained in the first dev blog, this means it's important which junction you choose. Choosing one over the other can sometimes have an impact on several rooms. So it's not just what boss do I want to fight, like currently it is. It's also like what path do I choose? Do I want the path that gives me a shop? If so, then I need to choose this one. Maybe even if the reward of this one is less interesting than this one, because I have a lot of currency, I want to go to the shop. So I'm kind of forced to either pick this one or this one, then go to this room, and then go to the shop. So that's interesting. Only the current dream's owner can choose the portal for the next room. That makes sense. This is currently. Okay, there are several types of rooms. Combat, dream fountain, dream favor, or boss. A dream will always end with a boss room. The first 3 rooms in the dreams are always fights. Okay, so the first bracket is just fight, 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 fountain, and then it starts to have like differences. Okay, so this is the boss. This is something random. This is a fight. This is a dream fountain, I guess. Or this is a dream fountain. We'll see. Please note that the information shown on the junction map will be incomplete. For dream fountains and dream favors, you'll only know the type of room, not the bonuses available. This is pretty standard. For fights, you'll only know the difficulty of the fight, not the monsters involved. Ooh, this is interesting. So the number on the top is the difficulty. So 9 is like, it's gonna be super hard. Oh, there's also 10. 9 is like, it's gonna be super hard. You don't know what monsters is gonna be, but you know that it's gonna be hard. I like that. You have to like commit to the room without knowing what's gonna be in there. Okay, difficulty and intensity level. Intensity level. The intensity level is one of the major changes that has been made based on your feedback. Okay, if this is what I think it is, I'm very hyped. Actually, the absence of infinite rooms is one section of the devlog that caused the most reaction. Your main concern was that the game would become less challenging due to the number of completed rooms. How can you find something challenging in a dream that comes to an end more quickly? Good question. At the same time, you also told us how frustrating it was to not be able to complete dreams with 3, 2, or even just 1 character. It seems to be hinting at what I wanted. To address both of these points, we are adding an intensity level system. When you start a dream, you can choose an intensity level that will adjust the difficulty of fights, which items are dropped, and drop experience rates. Once an intensity level has been selected for a dream, it can't be changed during the dream. So you start a game, you're like, I want to go story mode, just solo the whole dreams run. It's gonna be cool. I'm Slix, I want the most difficult content ever. Crank that shit to the max, and I get destroyed room 1. No, not Slix, he's like this buff guy. No challenge is too hard for him. Okay, for lone players and teams of 2, a change has been made to sidekicks. They will now earn the same bonuses as players as they progress through the rooms, making them much more viable. I really like that. There will be 10 intensity levels spread across 3 categories: the dream, the paradox, and the nightmare. So the dream is difficulty 1 to 3, it's easy mode. Intensity level 1, 2, and 3 form a simple mode, so as many players as possible can access it. It is particularly aimed at players who play in teams of 2 or 3, those who want to progress in their quests. Ah, yeah, that's so smart. And those who want to try out dreams. So you have to do the Volbis drops, just put it difficulty 1 and roll through all the dreams level. Difficulty has decreased. Players start with a dream with a Draconeros Sand. Okay. Draconeros Sand is an extra life. Okay, I'm getting a bit too hyped now. Players start with a few dream points. Okay, so you start with cash, you start with an extra life. So first it starts easier, and then I guess the fights are going to be easy as well. In return, this intensity offers lower drops. In addition, some items such as legend aren't dropped there. This is fine. This is totally legit. I think it's fair. Now, the optimal experience, so this is like the normal difficulty. Intensity level 4 to 7s are the heart of dreams. In this intensity range, difficulty and drops increase. Be careful because difficulty increases faster than drops, so you'll need to find your rhythm to get the most of it. Fair enough. Starting from these intensity levels, No Draconera Sand or Dream Points will be granted when you start. So you could probably buy it with Dream Points. You can probably buy like a second life, but you don't start with it. And then the Nightmare, 8 to 10. This is for determined players. The final 3 intensity levels are for the most determined among you. Their difficulty increases very quickly. Drops still increase, but much more slowly. This means these intensities are more for the challenge than for farming. If you want to challenge yourself, crank it up to the max, or 8 to 10, and it's not going to be optimal for farming, but it's a bit like Dreams 400 and plus. You know, you don't really get rewards, you just do it for the fun of playing hard fights. If you're looking for some tough nuts to crack and tricky situation, this is where you'll find them. I love it. So this is the UI, pretty cool. Okay. It's also important to mention players who want to complete dreams in teams of more than 4 players. This has been a debated topic. Ultimately, dreams will remain limited to teams of no more than 4 players. You can find a detailed answer to this point in the news article about it. I remember I covered this already. It's basically much easier to balance fights around 4 players. The reasons are the same as for the Titan Gargandias. Teams of 8 wouldn't give this feature balanced difficulty. Yeah, I understand. I feel like this is reasonable. Okay, calculating difficulty. Now we're getting a bit into the more technical stuff. How do you scale these 10 levels of difficulty? And you also scale in the other way, like when you increase the difficulty with the different brackets. So you have to have like 2 different scales for the difficulty. Each fight will have an associated difficulty level. This difficulty is shown on your junction map. This difficulty can range from 1 to a lot, 30 or even higher. The difficulty of the fights available will change based on 2 parameters: bracket and intensity level, just like I said. Each bracket will have a difficulty range. For example, in bracket 1, you'll only have fights with difficulty between 1 and 4. When you move to bracket 2, you'll have fights with difficulty from 3 and 7, and so on for the next brackets. The intensity level, the difficulty of fights will obviously be affected by the intensity level. This will then increase the bracket's difficulty ranges. For an example, at intensity level 1, bracket 1 fights will have a difficulty between 1 and 4, but at the intensity level 10, bracket 1 fights will have difficulty ranging from 10 to 15. So when you start at difficulty level 10, your fights are already at difficulty 10. Out of 30, which is pretty big. But obviously these values are just to give an example, and they're not going to be the final values. Once a basic difficulty has been associated with a fight, a small random function then takes effect. A group of monsters will be generated based on the difficulty level. Okay, so they generate the map, and they're like, okay, this room is going to be difficulty 3. This room is going to be difficulty 7. And then based on the difficulty level, they generate a room. An estimated difficulty will be associated with each monster and dungeon keeper in the game. Much to our delight, this will help differentiate between a very undead and a snapper, or a servitude and royal gobble. Thank you very much. People have been asking for that for a long time. The formation of groups also varies. Only monsters, only dungeon keepers, or a mix of both. So yeah, you could have a room of like 4 dungeon keepers. That would be pretty cool. But pretty hard as well. The way in which monster stat increases are calculated has also been updated. In the current dreams, only monsters' basic characteristic increased across rooms. So you know, it was only the monsters were only gaining like HP, I guess wisdom, I guess chance, strength, whatever. But maybe now you'll have like a different scaling for every characteristic. Now all of their characteristics increase, even their spells. An exception will be made for initiative, which will no longer endlessly increase for dream monsters. So you can still like build high initiative and start. Fights are the lifeblood of dreams. To ensure fair, interesting, and dynamic fights, a number of adjustments have been made. Dreamer level. To reiterate what was presented in the first dev blog, players' dream level will increase based on their current bracket. So you start at level 200, then you become level 225, then 250, 275, and then 300. This change will enable all character level related effects to gain power appropriately, including summons. Summons that scale based on your level will now scale based on your level. Reductions applied to damage received. Effect used with Feka's Rampart, for example. Pushback damage. Ooh, interesting. So you do more pushback damage as you go up the floors. Shields based on levels. Oh, this is interesting. So if you have like Emerald Dofus, you no longer get 200 shield, you now get 300 shield. Let's see if this makes a difference, enough of a difference. That's really cool. I really like that. I think maybe it will need some more fine tuning, but like the idea is there. Even if the numbers don't really make sense, I don't know, like we're gonna see when we try it. If it doesn't make sense, it's easy to just fine tune it. So I like that. To make fights more balanced and predictable, we decided to create dedicated combat maps for dreams. Oh, maybe not then. There will be some 30 different combat maps. Special attention has been paid to starting placement slots. This is because placement slots on all dream maps offer something for every type of team. That's nice. Each map will have 16 starting placement slots. So if you're playing a melee team, go in melee. If you're playing a range team, go range. There's enough placement slots to make everyone happy. Oh, exactly what I said. Placement slots for close combat, mid-range, and long-range players. At least 4 slots for each. Meaning the whole team can take position in close combat or at range. On mid-range and long-range placement slots, there will always be a way to hide from monsters at the start of the fight. That's really cool. No more getting one shot before you play, hopefully. Now, wave battles. As presented in the first dev blog, we don't think wave battles are suited for the format we want to offer, and it breaks the pace of progress. A wave battle is equivalent to roughly 3 fights. That's why we want to limit them as much as possible and keep a wave battle just for the final fight. That's fair as well. However, many of you were disappointed at the loss of the dimensional dungeon keepers in Dreams. That's why we're planning on adapting some of them. And what a perfect transition to the next section. Remove or adapted dungeon keepers. Our goal is simple, to have as many different and interesting dungeon keepers in Dreams as possible. That's easy. There are 3 scenarios to cover. Keepers with special maps. To name a few of these, Funoroshi, Turtolonia, Belladonna, Bethel. So these keepers have mechanics that rely on the map. An alternate version of these keepers will be available in Dreams so they can work on any map. Cool. Easy solution. Keepers with wave battles. To name a few of these keepers, everyone knows them, Cat's Eye, Vortex, etc. Our goal is to adapt wave battle bosses so they can work fully in classic fight. I can't wait to see that. Weak monsters keepers that aren't much good. This seems like such a fake sentence. It seems like something straight up out of Zoolander. That can't read good. Some monsters and keepers have balancing issues. This is especially true of the Shin Larva and Skunk. Initially, we will obviously apply a low difficulty to these monsters. However, we would eventually like to find a way to modify them so that they can benefit somewhat from the evolving level of Dreams. In total, 23 keepers require adjustment. Belladonna, Cabal. I'm not going to read all the list, but you can read it in the blog. Big list. Out of these 23 keepers, 5 won't be present in Dreams in update 3.3. Krolov, Kabums, Omnivores, Aurorarim, and Gargandias. This feels reasonable. These ones just released. And this one is kind of a weird fight, to be honest. Maybe they want to rework it. They said they want to rework it like Gargandias to be a Titan fight. For the others, their gameplay will be changed. Our goal is always keep changes to a minimum so the keeper stays as close as possible to the one you already know. That's good. Here are a few examples. Selmama will no longer kill players after 24 turns. Nice. The Malameba, I don't know how to pronounce, is no longer summoned by Krobs. Also nice. Dantinia summons Coloshells near allies. In return, Coloshells have twice the health points. Okay, so they're close to you, so you don't have to go through the map, but they have twice as much HP. Funoroshi enter phase 2 immediately without summoning barrels or fires. So they're just removing the whole mechanic. Cat's Eye, the way this boss works will change significantly. Enemies roll 2-sided dice at the start of each turn. Depending on the result, damage bonuses ranging from 2 to 30% will be applied. Oh, so just RNG. I like that. To make it easier to identify changes to this keeper, an icon with a tooltip will appear at the top left, like the current modifiers, describing the changes applied to the keeper. Actual in-game guidance on how to beat the monsters. This is a first for dofus. Duo bosses, Anshishian, Grozilla, Grasmera, may appear in Dreams, but they will always be together. I like that as well. This is pretty cool. It keeps the identity. Now we're on to the Archmonsters or Wanted Monsters section. As announced in the first dev blog, we are currently running tests to add as many special monsters as possible, which are neither dungeon keepers nor classic monsters. So either Archmonsters or Wanted Monsters. If these tests prove successful, it's highly likely that they'll be added to the list of monsters you can encounter in Dreams. Currently, tests on Archmonsters are producing boring fights, since Archmonsters are balanced somewhat uniquely. They just have a bajillion HP. If you scale that up to the Dreams level, they don't do much. They just take forever to kill. These new types of monster will make for more varied rooms and make it easier to adjust the overall difficulty of rooms. Fair enough. Modifiers and challenges. Regarding modifiers and challenges, we're slightly changing the system presented in our first dev blog. There will no longer be any challenges offered in fights. We think the challenging aspect of fights should come from elsewhere. Agreed. Contrary to what was announced in the first dev blog, there will no longer be any modifiers either. We think the difficulty of fights should lie more in the composition of group than these additional elements. I also like that. The Dreams fights will be more like normal fights, and you don't have to say, oh shit, the nightmare effect is that every time you hit, you get pulled towards them. It added some variety, but I feel like it was more like idols. These are supposed to add difficulty, but you just kind of pick the ones that don't affect you and you roll with it. I don't know. As a reminder, a dream will always end in a fight room. Following your plentiful feedback about the final boss, we've ultimately decided not to include an exclusive monster created especially for the occasion. Okay. The principle of Dreams is to reward players who have extensive knowledge of the game. We want to avoid players encountering monsters and mechanics they aren't familiar with at the end of a dream. Fair enough. It also fits with the vision of dreams, which is you complete everything from the game, now you go into dreams. It's gonna be hard fights, but you should be familiar with all of these mechanics because you already did most of the content that the game has to offer. However, we want this fight to be special, difficult, and fresh, so we decided to go for a boss rush. How does it work? This fight will be a wave battle, composed of bosses only. The number and type of keepers will be randomly determined based on the intensity level. You'll need to defeat all of the bosses to win the fight. To help you prepare in advance, all bosses in the fight will be visible in the detailed bestiary interface. Okay, so you arrive at the last room. It randomly selects a bunch of bosses that will appear one after the other. And then you will have the whole list. So it's going to be a very challenging fight, but you can prepare ahead for it. I think I like it. Dream points. Okay, let's get to the currency part. Dream points are still a currency used within a dream. They are earned in fights like before. However, given that there are no longer any challenges, quantity is no longer determined by them. Fair enough. From now on, the difficulty of the fight will determine the number of dream points earned at the end of a fight. So I remember when you go up a bit, just like here, it tells you this is a difficulty 9 room. It's a fight. It gives 20% vitality as a bonus. And when you beat the fight, you get 8 dream points. So you have all this info on the map. Since the number of dream points is no longer impacted by anything you do during the fight, if you clear it, you get 8 points. Easy as that. The number of dream points you can earn in a fight will be shown on the map when selecting a room. This is what I just showed you. These dream points will have 2 uses. They can be spent in the dream fountain. Any dream point left over at the end of a dream can be converted. These dream points are shared by the group, forming a shared pool. Permanent death. As announced in the first dev blog, one of the main changes in this revamp is permanent death. This means that if you die, your dream will end, and you'll have to start over from the beginning. As explained in the introduction, this point is the cornerstone of this revamp. Shorter, more diverse dreams, but where defeat is no longer an option. Basically, everyone's playing on Shadow. We've read a lot of feedback about this. To address the various problems identified, 5 key elements will be introduced. Draconeer's Sand. These sands act like an extra life. If you die while in possession of a Draconeer's Sand, you can retry the fight. Be careful, because this sand won't let you choose another fight, so you'll have to face the same group of monsters again. For intensity levels 1 to 3, the dream will start with 1 Draconeer's Sand from the outset. It will be possible to buy additional sands from dream fountains. Okay, interesting. Wow. Detailed bestiary. So you'll know exactly what monsters you're up against. We're adding a new interface. It will list all the monsters you're about to fight with all detailed stats, including initiative. This will help you plan your strategy in advance. The offensive in game. What year are we living? We're in the future. Monster spells won't be shown in this interface. Oh, never mind. Unfortunately, ever since the game was created, monster spells haven't been designed to be shown to players. This means we would have to go back over all of the monster spells in the game if we wanted to show them. It is true that sometimes when you're trying to read the spells on the offensive, it needs like a doctorate to understand what's going on. They have like infinitely nested effects that is like super unclear what it's doing. Monster placement. In addition to the detailed bestiary, you can see the position monsters will take at the start of the fight. This will help you plan your strategy in advance. Wow, I like that. I like that a lot. So you can see all the monsters, their initiative in order. The order, including your team. So a preview of the initiative. And then you can see like, if you play like super range, you can hide behind this wall. 'And if you play melee, you can kind of go here. two to each side, or like here to be a bit more mid-range. Okay, I'm hyped. I'm hyped. There's also a lot more preparation time. So you can properly plan your strategy. The preparation time has been increased to 3 minutes. So you can change gear, change position, and you won't need that long because you basically see everything you need before going into the fight. Is it me or this snail myth is gigantic? Combat maps. They have been designed and adjusted so you can position yourself according to your needs and adopt the strategy you like. Yeah, we covered that already. The Astral Storm. It has the same name as in the current dreams, but it works differently, letting you renew or re-roll a group of monsters. So if you've chosen a portal and find yourself up against a group of monsters that seem too hard, you can use your Astral Storm to generate a new group. But please note that you won't be given a storm as standard, even at low intensity. Note, this isn't the only use for this Astral Storm. So I think the Astral Storm is kind of a reroll. You can use it to maybe reroll the shop, you can use it to reroll the monsters. The goal of these changes is to help you prepare for these high stakes fights as best as possible and give you some level of control over randomness. Okay, let's see the bonuses. I think this will make or break the dreams for me, because as fun as random groups of monsters are, I think it's not enough replayability for me to just fight normal monsters in a loop. I need to have nice bonuses that change the feel of my character. And I'm a bit worried that this is maybe not gonna make it. But I'm hyped about these things, which seem like additional spells. I really want that. I want to feel like I'm playing something different every time. And have like, oh, I had a super good run where I had like 120% pushback damage and like the new spell that pushes for 6 cells or whatever. Anyway, let's stop speculating and read because it's right there. To help you progress in dreams, you can gain power in 3 different ways. Dream fountains, dream favors, or minor bonuses. A quick reminder from the first dev blog. To enable better progress, primary elemental characteristic bonuses have been replaced by damage and final heals. Nice, so you can have a more diverse team, not just everyone agi. Bonuses in other characteristics will no longer be a fixed value, but a percentage of the player's characteristics. I already said I really like that because you can't pad your set with characteristics that you get. You need to bring them. So if you're playing a tank and you have 6k HP, having a 10% bonus in HP is better than if you're playing a Omni-Crit Craw with like 2.5k HP. So I like that. All of the player's bonuses and resources in their dream will be summarized in a dedicated interface. This one. Any bonuses bought or won are shared and applied to all group members. That's fair. Only the current dream's owner can choose the bonuses. Yeah, that's classic. Okay. Dream fountains. The fountain is at the heart of these new dreams replay value. It replaces the bazaar in the current version. You can encounter these fountains at 2 different points. Each bracket starts with a fountain. You'll also have a small chance of finding one during a bracket. When you arrive at a room containing a fountain, you can interact with it to open an interface. You can then spend your dream points to buy bonuses. So it's a shop. The fountain will offer 5 bonuses that you can choose to buy or not. Pretty classic roguelite behavior. You'll be able to change all of the bonus the fountain offers at once using an Astral Storm. Okay, interesting. Now I'm curious to know if you can buy everything, reroll it, and then buy everything if you have like a crazy amount of points. That would be super cool. The following bonuses can be bought at this fountain. Eternal bonuses. Some bonuses will be retained throughout the dreams, like the current version. You'll find a wide range of effects from characteristics to legendary passive. Oh, from the pets. That way they don't have to add new stuff. The goal is to offer greater variety in the bonuses available. I like this. This is smart. Here are some examples. Whoa! Martial contestants, +1 cast per turn for weapons. Equivalent exchange. Unused MP are transformed into AP on the following turn. Bro, this is sick! I love it. Ephemeral bonuses. The fountain may offer you the opportunity to buy Astral Storms, to change what the fountain offers or reroll a group of monsters, and or Draconero's Sense. Okay, so you can buy basically rerolls or extra lives. Limited use spells. So this is a bit like in Gladiatorial. When you buy one of these spells, you will add it to the spell bar specifically intended for this. Any spells bought are shared by the whole group. However, if a player uses one, they use it for the whole group. Man, people are gonna grief you so hard. Oh, please come to my... Yeah, you're never gonna want to recruit randoms for your dreams. They're just gonna use all the cool spells and leave. Okay, let's see some examples of limited use spells. Rain of Shooting Stars. Inflict damage in all elements in a 5-cell circle area of effect. Cool down 5 turns. Oh, so it's actually not limited use. You keep it forever, but you... Bro, imagine Hopper Mage, Arcane Torrent, Rain of Shooting Stars. It's gonna destroy the whole map. Black Hole kills the target. Straight up. Bro. This is crazy. Imagine like you have an invulnerable boss with like 50,000 HP. You're just like, nope. Sandman makes the target miss a turn. This seems a bit worse than this one. I'm guessing this one will cost more. None of these spells and bonuses are retained from one dream to another, nor outside of dreams, obviously. Yeah, obviously. Okay, guys, I looted the black hole spell in my dreams run. Let's go do Silmamal. And the fight is done. So this is the fountain UI. You can so all of the bonuses have like a rarity. So this one is common, uncommon, rare, legendary, also legendary. This one you can't buy it because you don't have enough. This one gives you 5 Astral Storms, 2 Sands. This one... Didn't they say that they removed the characteristics? This is probably outdated mock-up then. Here it says 20% agility, but I think it's going to be 20% like final damage to be able to have fit every comp. So I think this is an outdated mock-up, but it still looks good. The important part is like being able to visualize the cost of everything and the bonuses. So this is the like AoE spell, uncommon, deals damage in every element in a circle of size 5. You can cast it every 5 turns. Okay, let's see what dream favors are. During your dream, you may be lucky enough to encounter dream favor rooms. They work fairly similarly to fountains, with a few exceptions. Only one bonus will be available. The available bonus will be free. Resources, Astral Storm and Draconero's Sen, can't appear in these rooms. When you enter the room, you can win big, but you also run the risk of being offered a bonus that really doesn't suit your playing style whatsoever. High risk, high reward. I like that. You'll be able to change the bonus the favor offers using an Astral Storm. Same thing, Astral Storm is a reroll. This is classic roguelite behavior. The same one used to change the group of monsters in the fountain, yeah. Minor bonuses. Finally, you'll also earn bonuses when you manage to defeat a group of monsters in a room. These bonuses are much smaller than the bonus you can get from fountains and favors. These bonuses are stackable. They will be random but indicated in advance on your map, so you can plan to get the best bonuses for your comp. This means they can influence your choice of junction somewhat. Yeah, exactly. 10%, for example, 10% final damage, 20% pushback, 20% VIT, 1 AP, 25% reduction of something. Sidekicks and summon will benefit from characteristic bonuses and passives acquired during a dream. So that's pretty cool. You can use sidekicks and they're gonna be crazy. Well, as crazy as you. Let's take a look at the rewards. Drops. Drops are key to making your journey to dreams worthwhile. A number of items can only be acquired in dreams and then sold on. As presented in the first devlog, the current chest system is interesting, but it has its flaw. Distribution of legends, number of different chests, dependence on difficulty, etc. So we're completely overhauling how the various resources in dreams are acquired. Dream reflections. You will get them at the end of each fight, but they will also be available for you to buy from a merchant in Draconeros' domain. Legends and animal legends. You can get them after each fight from the 3rd bracket onward, with a very low drop rate starting from the 4th dream intensity level. Paradox 1, which is the normal mode. So as soon as you play not in easy mode, and that you reach the 3rd bracket, there's a low chance that you're just gonna drop a legend. Straight up from the fight. Astral runes. You will have a chance of getting them after each fight. Each rune level is linked to 2 brackets, and their drop rate is improved when you are in the highest bracket. So when you're in the 1st bracket or 2nd bracket, you can get minor or average astral runes with a higher chance in the 2nd bracket. And the 3rd and 4th bracket, you can get major and wonderful astral runes with a higher chance in the 4th bracket. And then you can get marvelous and legendary astral runes in the 4th and 5th brackets. So I guess the 4th bracket will be the best one to have astral runes because you can drop 4 different types of astral runes. Raw prismarodites. They will be replaced by a single prismarodite fragment, which will be available for you to buy from a merchant in Draconeros' domain. So all the prismarodites are removed, replaced by one single resource, and you can buy it straight up from the merchant. Ceremonial shield and sidekicks can currently be dropped in dreams. This will still be the case after this revamp. Okay, so there are sidekicks. I think the fungus and Guyo, I think they can be dropped in dreams. It's still the case. Regarding the drop rate for these various rewards, it is influenced by intensity level. The rate for intensity level 3 will be twice as high as the rate for intensity level 1. The rate for intensity level 7 will be twice as high as the rate for intensity level 3. The rate for intensity level 10 will be 1.15 times as high as the rate for intensity level 7. So there's really no big bonus from that is gained from going to 7 to 10. Nightmare intensity level exists for the challenging aspect rather than drop effectiveness. So if you want to be at the most efficient like drop rate compared to difficulty, I think level 7 is going to be where you want to go at. Prospecting won't influence drops. We won't rule out enabling it for some items on a case-by-case basis. If you just go with your best set for combat, you don't care about prospecting, you just go in, you fight the monsters, and you have a chance to get some loot. What will happen to existing items? Chests already in circulation will remain in inventories and will still be usable, but it won't be possible to sell them anymore. So if you want to buy or sell chests, do it before 3.3. Current Dreams Reflection will become Yesteryear Reflection, which will temporarily let you buy Dream Shields and a new title. It won't be possible to sell existing raw prismarodites anymore, but they can be consumed to transform them into Yesteryear Reflections. The number of yesterday reflections given by a raw prismarodite depends on the minimum number of reflection that its associated chest gave before the update. For example, a Misty Narcas had a chance of giving at least 250 reflection, so the Zimzalin prismarodite will give 250 reflections. Infinite reflection will still let you get the Dreamer ornaments from before the update. All these items, including forgotten reflections, are set to disappear. Will give you time to recycle any leftover stock after the update. So no hurry in terms of like things disappearing right at the update. You'll have some time to deal with it, and it's gonna be like you can trade obsolete resources or no longer obsolete resources, shields, stuff like that, titles. I don't know. Dream fragments. At the end of each dream, any dream points you have left over won't be lost. They will be automatically converted into dream fragments. This conversion will occur if you reach the end of your dream. If you die or restart, no conversion will take place. So when you beat dreams and you were so good that you have leftover cash, you get some reward. And I feel like this might be like the classic roguelite part where you get some rewards that you can use to buy bonuses for your next run. The conversion rates increase based on the dream's intensity level. As a reminder, the number of dream points earned at the end of the fights depends on the difficulty of the fight. Further you progress throughout your dreams, the harder the fights will be, so the more dream points you will earn. So not only when you do a harder dreams run, you get more dream points, but at the end, these dream points will be converted using advantageous rate into dream fragments. When the dream is over, a notification will be sent to all players who took part in the dream, and the dream fragments will be sent directly to the player's bank. Please note, the dream fragments earned at the end of a dream will depend on the number of fights that the player took part in during the dream. For example, if a player had only taken part in the fight in room 30, they will only receive 1/30th of the rewards. That's what I was going to say. People are just going to invite people for the last room so they can like give a lot of dream fragments, but they thought of that and kind of mitigated it. These dream fragments will let you buy various items after your dreams. Dream reflection, prismarodite fragments, astral runes, a new ceremonial set, a new title, new ornament. Okay, so this is only... That's what they said when they say you can buy stuff. You need to finish a dream run, get some currency, and then spend that currency. And that currency is not going to be impacting your next dream run. It's going to be for actual in-game stuff. Either cosmetics or resources that you can sell. This is the end of dreams screen. This was difficulty Nightmare 2. And you ended up with 120 dreams points, which are converted into, we don't know how many dream fragments, but it gives 3 dream fragments to Angie, 2 to Etern, 2 to Croquette, and 1 for Saint-Hubert Omega 3. These are the modifiers that you all got. The WID hub with all its NPC. The Dream hub is getting a makeover. As it happens, Draconeros won't be alone at the entrance to Dreams anymore. The hub will be expanded, and NPCs will join it over time. You can already find Infinu, who will stick around to take your old infinite reflections in exchange for old Rework ornaments. Kokorupt, who will trade in your forgotten reflections for dream shields once again for the older ones among you. A new NPC will take your yesteryear reflections, old dream reflections, in exchange for dream shields and a title. The new dream merchant will sell the items mentioned in the dreams fragment section. Okay, Prismarodites, legendary items, and legendary pet powers. Prismarodites. To begin this section on Prismarodites, we're planning on making 3 changes. Having just a single prismarodite fragment so there won't be so many different resources to manage. Updating the recipes for prismarodite accordingly to slightly favor destruction by generating nuggets. Okay. We're considering the idea of adding stats to prismarodites, again to slightly favor destruction by generating runes. Okay. Not too sure what's this gonna entail, but let's see. Legendary items. Infinite dreams mean legendary items. These items are one of the pillars of the dream experience. As part of this revamp, we're planning on adding new legendary items. 7. I thought I couldn't be more hyped. We're keeping these new items a surprise for the beta. That's nice. Legendary pet powers. We weren't satisfied with how a croquet was randomly obtained based on the quintessence obtained. It caused a lot of frustration by making it hard to access legendary pet powers. So we're completely overhauling how infused croquettes are obtained. You can now craft them, provided you've completed the associated quest. Just like with the old quintessences, their recipe will include the various ingredients of quintessences, adding dream reflections and a resource thematically linked to the creature in question. And that's it. Okay. Existing quintessences will still be usable but won't be able to be sold anymore, and they are set to disappear. However, just like other dream resources, we'll give you the time to use them before we completely disable them. Okay, so if I get this right, before you would use the animal legend to craft a quintessence, and then you use the quintessence and you got a random croquette. But now you're going to be able to craft directly the croquette with different resources to have exactly the power that you want. To be honest, I never dabbled too much into legendary pet powers. I feel like it's really like min-maxing to the max, and most of the time they come with a drawback as well. So it's not just like you absolutely need this. It's more to alter a bit your gameplay. And I feel like I didn't need that, especially with the tag price tag they have. In conclusion, here's a list of miscellaneous topics that are worth mentioning. Dream achievements. Achievements are an important and now integral part of the player's game experience. We are aware that adding achievements often means forcing players to do something. We know what you like, completionists. Yeah. However, achievements are also a good way of challenging players and introducing them to a feature. When it comes to dreams, there's also a degree of randomness to take into account. Each dream is unique, and the difficulty of dream with intensity level 10, for example, varies slightly based on the bonus you find as you progress through the dream. Basically, after careful consideration, we decided to go with relatively generic achievements in the style of complete a dream with a specific intensity level. It's gonna be cool. I think the fact that there weren't any dream achievements made people sometimes overload dreams. Now people are gonna be like, oh, I want a bit more achievements. Let's see what I'm missing. I don't have the achievement for dreams intensity level 1. Let's just run a quick easy dreams, and then you start to scale up, get more achievements. I like that. Quests in dreams. As you probably know, existing quests. As you probably know, some quests require you to complete dreams, meet NPCs, or drop items. These quests will always exist and will always require you to enter a dream. However, some of them will require you to have a minimum intensity level to meet the NPCs or to do drops. The intensity level will be specified in the relevant quests. Okay. Contrary to what was stated in the first dev blog, these quests won't require you to enter alternate dreams. So you keep the same system. You can even put like this Volbis quest to get the drops. It should be somewhat hard to get the Volbis drops. So you can only do it starting from intensity level 3 or more. That seems reasonable. The winning streak system. Oh. It was presented in the first dev blog, but it wasn't well received and had some flaws. We're not keeping it. With the removal of winning streaks, the system of leaderboards that we were planning to develop is a non-starter. It has now become difficult to find a new fair system for ranking players. As things stand, the system we are planning is based on both the intensity level and the number of dream points. We think this kind of system is the fairest and most equitable. Obviously, putting a leaderboard in the RNG mode is gonna make some people groan, but I still think it's nice to compete, and it's the same RNG for everyone, so no one has really a big advantage. I think this is fine, especially if it's just for bragging rights. Kind of who cares? The intensity level seems to be the perfect criterion for ranking players on the leaderboard. A player who has completed a dream with an intensity level of 8 will be ahead of a player who completed it with an intensity level of 7. However, there might be a lot of ties. That's why we need a second criterion. We think the number of dream points at the end of a dream is the best way to make the rankings more granular. The more dream points as a player has at the end of a dream, the more difficult fights they've fought, and or the fewer points they spent on bonuses. This would add a hierarchy to wins at the same intensity level. Note only the dream owner would appear on the leaderboard. So it's not like Gargandias where everyone appears, it's just the owner. From a game design perspective of like ranking people, I think this makes sense. But I really don't like the fact that you design a system like, hey, look guys, we added some like crazy nice bonuses that you can buy. Don't buy them, by the way. Don't use any of the nice cool system that we designed, otherwise you're gonna not be placed on the leaderboard. That feels kind of counterintuitive. Once again, I'm not gonna play to reach the heights of the leaderboard, so I'm gonna actually spend my dream points. But yeah, feels weird to be like the player with the highest score is not the one that built the craziest build, is the one that just went in, didn't get any bonus, just smashed everything with just his raw stats of its character, and then gets placed on the leaderboard. I guess it makes sense because it's an end game feature, and that people want to like flex. People who want to flex can like complete difficulty level 10 without buying anything and picking all the hardest fights, and then they're gonna appear on top. Sure. But yeah, I don't really like the fact that you're designing a system and you're saying to people, hey, by the way, don't use it so that you can place higher on the leaderboard. Restriction on achievements. It will no longer be necessary to have already fought keepers in the material world for you to encounter them in dreams. This hasn't changed since the first devlog. We think that having reached level 200 and finished a large part of the game will be an advantage, but shouldn't be a prerequisite. The additional keeper and redistribution system have been removed. So you can create a character, power level it to 200, get into dreams, and it's gonna work the same way. You don't need achievement points anymore to have like better dreams run. Training mode. This mode, Dreams Before Level 200, has been removed. However, contrary to what was presented in the first devlog, we won't be placing any level requirements on access to dreams. This means you can recruit player at level 199 and below. So you could, like if you have like a friend that's level 199 and you're like, oh, let's do a dream run. We're gonna keep the level low that the person can join. Even like a team of level 180 could probably complete the dreams at the easiest way. I think that's nice. Consumables between rooms, in line with this desire to speed up and streamline progression. You'll no longer have to use consumable between rooms to recover health or energy points. That's like such a banger. Now, the seed system. In the first dev blog, we talked about implementing a seed system for dreams. This system will indeed be introduced under the name memory. Okay, so this is what I was wondering what it was. I think this is gonna be the seed of the run. So if I do like a super nice run, I'm like, holy fuck, this was amazing. Copy paste this, post it on a forum and say like, this run was super fun. This is for sure going to be abused. As a reminder, what is a seed? When you start a dream, an identifier will be associated with it. If you retrieve this code, you can enter it in the interface to start a dream, to start a memory. In other words, to redo the same dream, same junction of rooms, same bonuses. A number. Oh, okay. It's not going to be abused. A number of exceptions should be taken into account for memories. No rewards can be earned from a memory. Completed memories won't be eligible to appear on the leaderboard. You can choose whatever intensity level you want. This means that groups of monsters won't necessarily be identical. Yeah, they are influenced by room difficulty and thus by intensity level. If you start a memory with the same intensity level as the original dream, you'll encounter exactly the same groups of monsters. However, if you start a memory with a different intensity level, the groups will change. This makes sense. The code will only be retrievable at the end of a dream, whether won or lost. Ongoing dreams will be automatically closed when the update is released. So I guess this is just unrelated stuff to the seed system. So I'm not sure about the usefulness of this, but it could be fun to like make an event. Okay, I have a couple of friends or in my guild. Let's take this seed that I found and it was fun. You give everyone the same seed, they all start the same dream, and let's see who goes the furthest. Yeah, they can make a tournament seed for PvE shit. Exactly. I didn't see it at first, but now I see it. They can do that, but we can do that as well. We could like, I could say like, okay, let's do a tournament of like dreams. That is cool, yeah. And it's not gonna give rewards, so it's just for fun. You play the dreams, you try to reach the end, you could do like a small tournament, whoever gets the most dream points at the end wins. And now you have to optimize like your path, your team. Could be pretty cool. In conclusion, this major revamp of Dreams marks an important turning point in the experience we want to offer through this feature. With the introduction of permanent death, a broader and more diverse progress system through dream fountains and favors, minor bonuses, and an improved system for generating groups of monsters, we're aiming to renew the fun of the game while increasing the challenging aspect and replay value. I'm convinced. I think everything they announced is going in the right direction for this, and this direction really resonates with me. We've taken your extensive feedback into account to balance difficulty, randomness, and strategic control, while offering new features that will adapt to a wide range of player profiles. This was really important, I feel like, and I think they nailed it. We can't wait for you to try out this new version in the update 3.3 beta. See you soon in dreams and enjoy the game. I think my wish list coming into that for me was adjustable difficulty, check, and replay value with not only like just stats, like different spells, different passive, different stuff, also check. So like I can't wait to play Dreams. I'm gonna be hyped. Looking forward to 3.3. Gonna absolutely like do some content together with some friends. And the fact that it's just 30 runs, you do like, okay, let's do like a full stream where you just play Dreams and you try to complete it in one stream. It's good for content creators. I really like it.